Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
All right, we got some people joining us online. I love that. We got butts and seats. Welcome, welcome. Here's the handout for today. All right, we are well prepared. Just so everybody watching this after the fact at home knows, everybody has a pack of Kleenex in front of them. Because when you do breath work, sometimes your nose gets a little runny. And then we also have some really nice pieces of pink granite in front of everybody. If you start to get worked up, if you start to feel a little funny, pink granite is really nice to just hold in your hand. It's very soothing. So we got you ready. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about breath work, specifically about sleep. 3D Wellness believes that there are 3 areas of knowledge that can dramatically improve one's life: breath work, supplementation, and food. In this class, we'll focus on breath work. Everywhere you go, your lungs are with you. This is the second in a 4-part series about breathing. We will focus on getting our body in a state where sleep comes easily. And there are a few quotes from the book Breath that I will share with you, and then we'll be practicing breathing to get more out of sleep. At any point, if you feel lightheaded, return to normal breathing. If you have any medical conditions that could be negatively stimulated by breath work, please just follow along instead of participating in the exercises. Safety first. This really is powerful stuff. Just so everybody watching knows what book I'm referring to, it's this one by James Nestor. Whether you get the book or you get the audiobook, strongly recommend. Totally amazing. Some quotes out of there. The perfect breath is this: breathe in for about 5.5 seconds, then exhale for 5.5 seconds. That's 5.5 breaths a minute for a total of about 5.5 liters of air. You can practice this perfect breathing for a few minutes or a few hours. There's no such thing as having too much peak efficiency in your body. What I like about this one is it's really easy to remember. It's just 5.5 in, 5.5 out. If you do 6 in and 6 out because you're just watching a clock with a seconds hand, just do that. That was the focus of the last one. That was part 1 in the breath series. Next quote. It turns out that when having breathing at a normal rate, our lungs will absorb only about 1/4 of the available oxygen in the air. The majority of that oxygen is exhaled back out. By taking longer breaths, we allow our lungs to soak up more in fewer breaths. If you've ever had a spilled liquid that you were cleaning up with a rag, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't just take the rag and swipe it across the liquid because you're just going to push the liquid around. But if you take that rag and slowly drag it across the liquid, the rag has a chance to soak up the liquid. Same thing with our lungs. We want to give them the chance to soak up that oxygen. Next quote. In a single breath, more molecules of air will pass through your nose than all the grains of sand on all the world's beaches. Trillions and trillions of them. These little bits of air come from a few feet or several yards away. As they make their way towards you, they twist and spool like stars in a Van Gogh sky. And they'll keep twisting and spooling and scrolling as they pass into you, traveling at a clip of about 5 miles an hour. If you can't picture 5 miles an hour, it is not as much as a hard jog, but faster than a walk. And trillions of those molecules are coming at you at that rate. Next quote. For every 10 pounds of fat lost in our bodies, 8.5 pounds of it comes through the lungs. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? I have a theory about this I'm going to share in a second. Most of it is carbon dioxide mixed with a bit of water vapor. The rest is sweated or urinated out. This is a fact that most doctors, nutritionists, and other medical professionals have historically gotten wrong. The lungs are the weight-regulating system of the body. I know I'm already blowing your mind, and we're like really early in the workshop. But here's my theory. All the time we hear people talk about, I know the science says that weightlifting, resistance training, is hormonally better for fat loss. But when I do a lot of cardio, I lose more fat quickly. During cardio, you typically take more breaths. Does that make sense now? And if 85% of the fat that you lose is done through breath, if you're going at a steady clip, we have to do these big breaths instead of like, oh, I did a set and then I was resting. You're going to have more in and out with the lungs, thus more potential for weight loss. Next quote. Hey, welcome. Left nostril breathing shifts blood flow to the opposite side of the prefrontal cortex, the right area that plays a role in creative thought, emotions, formation of mental abstractions, and negative emotions. All right, so the idea with this is if we covered our right nostril and only used our left, it's going to stimulate that part of the brain. And I mentioned this last time, it bears repeating. It says here that it's going to stimulate negative emotions, or the part of the brain that handles negative emotions. It's not going to help the creation of negative emotion. It's going to help the part of your brain that processes them so you can move on from them. So anytime you're like, wow, I'm emotionally upset about this topic and I don't feel like I'm progressing, take your thumb and cover your right nostril with it. And then breathe. And just do that for a while. See what happens. It's pretty cool. And if you ever see a person in public walking around like that, you're like, oh, they're having a rough day. Give them some space. Godspeed. Next quote. The fix is easy. Breathe less. But that's harder than it sounds. We've become conditioned to breathe too much, just as we've been conditioned to eat too much. With some effort and training, however, breathing less can become an unconscious habit. And when it does become an unconscious habit, it is so obvious when other people are not doing it. I can walk through the grocery store and notice people who are breathing too fast. Because even when I'm doing stuff like that, like errands, I can feel this real slow, steady breath that I'm doing. It took me a while to train it up. But now everywhere I go, I notice when people are doing the... It's all up here. They're not using their belly at all for anything. Last quote before the work. But the changes triggered by the rapid industrialization of farmed foods were severely damaging. Within just a few generations of eating this stuff, modern humans became the worst breathers in Homo history, the worst breathers in the animal kingdom. That's a quote from this book, written by a researcher, not a nutritionist. If that was a Drew Detzner quote, you'd be like, of course he's going to say the food's a problem, guy sells supplements, right? In his research of breathing, the idea of the way our foods are processed came up, and it is totally conclusive that those over-processed foods are damaging our ability to breathe right. Yeah, I got you scared. It's a good thing we're going to do some relaxing breathing next. Yeah, because you get to feel it better. All right, so we're going to talk about 4-7-8 breathing. This is outlined in the book also. There is also a YouTube video outlining how to do this. When I post this video up on YouTube, I'm going to drop that link in the description of the video. So if you want to hear somebody else guide you through it, you can. All right, 4-7-8 breathing. This technique was made famous by Dr. Andrew Weil. It places the body into a deeply relaxed state. It is great before bed, on airplanes, and before difficult conversations. How often have you gone into a conversation that you know you have to have, and you're all worked up about it? Wouldn't it be nice if in about 4 breaths you could just feel better? It doesn't mean the conversation doesn't have to happen now, right? But it's that you're more prepared for it. And how long does it really take you to take 4 good breaths? So not a huge time constraint. 4-7-8 breathing. We want to do it before intense situations. So those difficult conversations, those plane rides, the examination, rush hour traffic, whatever. Whatever is intense for you. I don't need you to justify what's intense for you. I just want you to know it's here for the intense times. Here's how you do it. You take a breath in, then you exhale through your mouth with a whoosh sound. The idea with the whoosh sound is it actually just by making that sound, you put your airways in a different shape that's more ideal for relaxation. Then close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose to a mental count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Then exhale completely through your mouth with a whoosh again to a count of 8. Repeat this for at least 4. So here's the good news. I got a metronome that I'm going to play. It's going to give us a nice steady tempo. And what I'll do is I'll call out in 2, 3, 4, hold up to 7, and then out for 8. Probably end up pointing at this at some point just so it's easier for everybody to play along. I really like to start at a tempo that's a little bit quicker because that's typically a little bit easier. And then we can slow it down. And that makes it a little bit more intense. Before we do that, any questions come to mind? No? Cool. Let's do it. So it sounds quick. Feel the tempo. Eventually we'll slow it down. Do as normal of a breath as you can, knowing that you are preparing to do breath work. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, return to some normal breathing. Yeah, what's up?
Can we all practice the whoosh sound?
The whoosh. Yeah.
Can we practice it? Because if
Sure.
you can't do it, and I think we're all afraid.
Ah, okay. Whoosh.
Where that fits in.
Imagine that you are trying to dry the back of your upper front teeth. Okay? And you're going to do it for a count of 8. So that would feel like okay. You can also use your teeth. You can close your mouth. If you're feeling like, whoa, true on that exhale, I was done in 3. I'm supposed to do it for 8. You can close your mouth a little more. You can still whoosh even with your mouth more closed. Because that same shape, but with my mouth open. The air is still coming up the roof of my mouth like I'm trying to dry the back of my upper front teeth. Actually, made my mouth dry. I guess I did it really well.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
This part up here that talks about the, the lungs being the weight regulating system of the body.
Yes.
What about smokers and vapors? Does that affect the weight regulation?
Yeah, really good question. So the question is, if somebody is smoking or vaping, I'm going to take it a step further. If they work on an asphalt lane crew, so they're exposed to vapors that we know stress out airways, their body's ability to lose fat is compromised. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways we can get exposed to airborne things that mess with us. Employees who do the lights at the airport on the runway, they're breathing airline exhaust all day. How many planes come and go from a small airport, let alone LaGuardia or LAX or Paris, So any situation where we know that there is airway stress, we know those individuals are more likely to need more airway support. Otherwise, their ability to lose fat is compromised. Yeah, good question. Other questions come to mind? No? So I'm going to slow down the tempo just a hair. We're going to do the pattern again. 4, 7, 8. And let's hear you whooshing. Okay? Feel the tempo. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. out, 2, 3, 4, good, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Normal breathing again. Did it feel different to whoosh audibly? Okay, cool.
I got a little lightheaded.
Oh, yeah? It's totally normal.
Yeah.
So we talk about lightheaded a lot when we do breath work, and there's a bunch of reasons it can happen. One of the reasons that we can get lightheaded during breath work is that difference between our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So we alternate between these two all day depending upon what activity is going on. Most people exist in a sympathetic dominant state most of the time. They are all worked up, they're all revved up, they're trying to do more, trying to get more done, they're not resting and recovering. Sometimes they can get so bad that the body burns out because trying to sustain that sympathetic get up and go state. Parasympathetic starts with the same 4 letters as the word paralyzed. Right? Not moving. At rest is what it means. It doesn't mean trauma to your spinal cord. It means at rest or not moving, immobile. That part of your nervous system is where your organs can fix themselves. That's where your energy reserves fill back up. Sometimes we get lightheaded during breath work because we actually shift to parasympathetic for the first time in a long time. And when we start to relax, it's like, what is that? And it can actually make you lightheaded. It's not that you're necessarily over-oxygenating your body or that you have some issue with the exchange of carbon dioxide in your lungs. I've heard people say that. You might just be chilling out at last. That makes sense? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do some more of this pattern. I'm going to slow it down again. So be conscious of your whooshing on the out because you need to be able to sustain that for 8. Okay? Something that helps a lot of people is if they really focus on filling up with the 4 and like really big belly filling up. Okay? So that's our tempo. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoosh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3. Good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She got so lightheaded, she jumped the gun. Jay, it just feels so good. And then I was holding, and then I was like, I'm going to let it loose. And then that happens every workshop. If it doesn't happen, I'm like, y'all aren't really trying. All right, so that was a slower tempo. In that round, we did a pattern. We did 4 loops instead of 3 like every other time. Did anything feel different?
No, but each time we're doing it, each round, I'm feeling more relaxed.
Right
I'm
on.
in here, breathing up here.
Yep. And you flat out can't fill up in 4 to exhale for 8 if you're only breathing up here. What she mentioned was that each round is a progressively relaxing thing. And that's a wonderful thing to think about. So let's say we're going into that intense situation. Pick the situation, whatever's intense for you. And before we leave the house for it, we do 4 of these. And then we pull in the parking lot and we do 4 more. And then we walk in and we're waiting for whatever. We do 4 more. Each round, you will get deeper and deeper into a relaxed state. So by the time the actual event comes up, you're like, hey, everybody, I'm here about my arraignment. Apparently, you're like, whoa, like he's really calm for being up for a felony charge. You're like, yeah. Questions coming to mind?
I imagine with using this to fall asleep, you just do it until you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right?
And for most people, what they report back when I teach them how to do this for sleep is they'll get up to between 6 and 10 rounds of it. And then they are so relaxed that they forget the pattern. The pattern they just successfully did 6 times in a row, 10 times in a row. But they are like so relaxed that they're like so close to sleep that they're like, was I holding or was I supposed to breathe out? And then they're out. It's like that. For just like relaxation for intense things, 4 rounds is what I tell people to start with before bed. It's just once you turn off that light, then you just start this pattern. Yeah.
So yeah, not only good for sleep, but just general relaxation.
Yep.
Might not be a good thing to do while you're driving.
Definitely not good when you're driving. If you're the passenger in a car and you don't like the driver. I've done this on road trips with my buddy where he was driving and I had the next shift. During my not driving shift, I would do this so that I was like feeling fresh when I was behind the wheel then. My time in the passenger seat was actually restful. Yeah.
How does this pattern compare to the anxiety pattern?
Really good question. Yeah, the biggest difference is that with the anxiety pattern, that's 5.5 in and turning it around immediately for out. That's the biggest difference. There's no hold count. The other big difference then is your in is much quicker moving air because you have half the time compared to your out. It's the same volume of air, but you have half the time to and pull it in.
So it's kind of like a quicker fix kind of thing, or
Ooh.
I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's a really good question. This is for a deeper part of your nervous system to relax. Mm-hmm. The anxiety breath is much more topical, much more surface. This is a much deeper relaxation.
Okay.
So they're kind of like tears. Especially if I'm like, so if I'm driving, I'll do the anxiety breath work because I'm just breathing in and out slowly. That's fine. I would never do this driving.
Yeah,
does that make sense? Right.
But you want to stay calm driving.
So I would do the anti-anxiety breath work driving. Yeah.
I would imagine too that you could pick and choose and move between both depending on where you're at and how much time you've got. So if you're anxious, you can still do this and not go to sleep. You know.
Yeah, you can pick and choose which one you want to do.
Depending on what time you've got in the day.
Yeah. But then at bedtime, make time for this is what I would say. Yeah.
Right. My question is, what is the holding pattern in this breath work actually doing to the body?
Yeah, really good question. So when we have a hold in any breathwork pattern, what it's doing is training your nervous system to increase its patience. And it's occurring at a chemical level, not just I'm going to be a patient person today, right? It's at a chemical level your body learns that air doesn't just come and go all the time. Sometimes you get air and then you got to wait. And then you can let it out. Part of what that does for us also is it gives our airways time to really pull in that oxygen that I mentioned at the start. If we're just in and out, we don't necessarily get more oxygen. If we go in with a hold, our lungs have time to load up all that oxygen into our bloodstream. That answer your question?
Yes. What I like about this breath work, especially the holding pattern, is it's building my capacity to hold my breath for a long time, which really comes in handy when I'm out in the world and I come across something toxic in the air. I immediately hold my breath so I'm not inhaling that, and it helps to be able to hold that for longer periods of time.
It's a really good point. Yeah. When we can see an unwanted airborne exposure coming, the asphalt crews on the side of the road, this time of year, the leaf sweeping thing and all that dust, I'm not saying the dust is going to kill me. I just don't want to breathe it. I think that's pretty reasonable. If I'm hanging out with my guy friends and one of them tells me that he is absolutely about to break wind, It's a very convenient time to be able to hold your breath for 90 seconds to a minute, right? And I'm, excuse me, I'm going to walk away. He should have walked away. Anyways, so yeah, there are absolutely times where it'd be really nice to be able to hold your breath. And yeah, this builds that up. It just gets you used to it. I don't think the next two workshops go into long breath holds, because long breath holds, like, we really got to have all the basics tuned before I take a person through that. But then it's really easy to learn how to hold your breath for up to 3 minutes, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, that's not even elite. Yeah. Elite people can do it. It's something like 5 or 6 minutes. There was, yeah. He wrote a whole book about underwater breathing, and it's wild. Yeah.
One more question
Yeah.
for me is, what's the difference between holding your breath
Mm-hmm.
in versus exhaling and holding? What is that doing to the chemically in the body?
Yeah, the chemical difference between when we're holding an inhale versus we're holding after an exhale. The inhale I mentioned, we can pull more oxygen out of the air. It trains our nervous system at a chemical level that you don't always get to exchange air quickly. When we hold an exhale, it chemically changes our body to be more efficient with what it pulled in from the breath. Because it's saying, you don't get a full breath, you exhaled, you have 1/8 of a breath left. What can you do with that? Like, oh, if I only had 1/8 of my resources, what would I change? That kind of thing.
It kicks in a kind of a survival mode.
I was going to say the same thing.
Without throwing you into sympathetic. Doesn't throw you into sympathetic to do that. Yeah, you can stay parasympathetic dominant in a healthy way and hold the exhale. Yeah.
And then is it important to pay attention to like posture at all? I noticed sometimes even this week when I was breathing more, like sometimes my shoulders, and I'm like, oh no, because I know you want to fill up your stomach and stuff. So just posture-wise, things to be aware of.
Yeah, posture, you can get really nitpicky and it can almost be a distraction.
Yeah.
I tend to talk about it very little. Instead, what I say is, if you can't do a pattern like this at the tempo I'm playing, change how your body is positioned. But if you can do this pattern, then I'm less concerned about your posture, because ultimately a couple of cycles of this, up shoulders will bring themselves down.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And if somebody's only trying, like you mentioned this, if you're trying to pull in those 4 to hold it, you can't just do it from up here. You got to kick this in. So the focus on the pattern often corrects the posture technique stuff. Yeah, good question. Let me click this thing. Everybody online, I love that you're here. You're going to get kicked off in like 5 minutes. Just by Zoom, not by me. All right, let's do another pattern. In for 4, hold for 7, whoosh for 8, because we're throwing it out. Okay? That's going to be your tempo. It's just a hair slower again. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoosh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoosh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3. Good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. I don't know if the microphone, one of them's asleep. We lost somebody. I don't know if my microphone will pick it up, but your whooshes were very potent in that last round. And that's kind of cool to see. All the stuff's kind of fired up.
Yeah.
It's getting easier to do it. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we did a total of, what's the math on that? 16 rounds of this breathing. How much more relaxed do you feel even though you're engaged in study right now? It's pretty cool, right? If we were only doing these rounds of breathing and not doing the entire presentation, this would have taken less than 5 minutes to do. It's pretty cool, right? You can probably squeeze in 5 minutes, right? Especially before bed, especially before the airport. Yeah. That's what I had prepared for today. What other questions are bubbling up? For everybody after the fact and everybody here, the tempo we worked up to was 82 beats per minute. We started at 90 beats per minute, which is faster. And especially when you're first getting into breath work, I hope I mentioned this last time, quicker tempos are usually easier. You'll be doing stuff faster, but when people aren't used to things like holds or slow exhales, a quicker tempo is usually easier to do at the start. And just like today, you can start at a quicker tempo till you feel warmed up, and you can slow it down. Everybody online, thank you so much for being here. All the butts and seats, thank you for being here. And everybody after the fact on YouTube watching it, thank you. If you ever have questions, if you ever want to check out other content, our username on YouTube is the same as it is on Instagram. You can always call or email with questions.